Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz. Today is April 13, 2015, 9:18 p.m. Birmingham. Topic, the Final Four, Part 2. And we left off a moment ago about your house. How large is your house going to be? And anyway, I've lost my spot here, but I think I have it. I think we talked about a two-person would probably end up in a 350 square foot house, or an apartment rather, and this is the average of all socialist countries, and including Cuba. You know, extra large apartment there. I read a story, or actually saw the documentary on TV about a doctor that he had an extra large apartment, big, 850 whole square feet. This is still smaller than the smallest houses that we live in here in America. But he had that. Plus he got an extra loaf of bread during the week. Plus he got an extra something else. Plus he got like a $18 or $20 a month raise. He's not doing much better than the man that lives below him in a 350 square foot room. So socialism become Nazism, then fascism, and it's because there's no room for God. It breeds. And the likes of Hitler, Mussolini, and Franco of Spain, they are your God, and you will treat them as such. It's like North Korea today. Their leader is their God. And they have to treat them that way, or they will be imprisoned, punished, or even killed. And that's in North Korea. And we know that by the documentaries, the hidden ones that we have seen. So keep your eyes on the Council of Foreign Relations. You've heard about that. They will take over fascism. The goal is a complete 100% new world order run by but a very few. The CFR, Council of Foreign Relations, will abandon our Constitution, which will be rewritten to appease the government, not people, the government. We will never have that freedom again. Never. Once we go socialism, that's it. Never in our lives. And guess who had a say-so in part of this? Bill Gates. Just because he's rich, he decided that the world needed to be capped at 8 billion people. And that number has been adjusted downward, whether you know it or not. What gives this man the right to decide how many people lives on the earth God gave us, with a capacity to have 15, 20, 30 billion people on earth, and all eating and drinking well? According to Bill Gates, there's not enough room. He's got all the money he wants. Anyway, this overpopulation, says Bill Gates, it nurtures terrorism and the economic meltdown. Yeah, well, that's happening now. These are manufactured fear tactics by the newly formed international institutions and global governance. A think tank for the Trilateral Commission, or the Council of Foreign Relations. Since the Jimmy Carter days in 1977 through 81, he founded now the Trilateral Commission. And I thought he was a good president. God, was I wrong. We shall have world government whether or not you like it, by, listen to this, by conquest or consent. This statement was made in 1950 by James Paul Warburg. Notice that in latter 50s, prayer was slowly being removed from schools. Well, you talked about that 2 blogs back. His father, Paul Warburg, was responsible for creating the most important tool of the government ever devised, the Federal Reserve. Senator Nelson Aldrich tapped Warburg to do this Federal Reserve study. Aldrich was the father-in-law, get this, father-in-law of John D. Rockefeller Jr., and we know him and his lying tactics when he stole Standard Oil, and he's in charge of or part of the National Heart and Blood Foundation that made Rockefeller a billionaire, among other things. Back when banks loaned money, I went too far, apologize guys. Back when banks loaned money, they were required to have that amount on reserve. Few banks did. So the banks would borrow from the Federal Reserve, in which they gave banks money that they didn't have, charge interest on the money they didn't have. No one ever questioned Rockefeller and father-in-law, Senator Nelson, or Aldrich, about the vote that took place while all Congress was off for Christmas on December 23rd, 1913. Just a few voted, and it was an illegal vote at that, and just like what Obama has done numerous times, and was signed by Woodrow Wilson. It was and still is the world's biggest scam, and is still going on. In order to keep them in control, they simply created money shortage schemes, and these kept them these kept them in charge of the largest money-making scheme in the world, even though every member of the government knows about it, but does not have anything that they can do about it. They are powerless to do anything about it. Charles Lindbergh wrote, this act put the hands of an invisible government, money power, to bring into being the largest, most single step of control from but a few to control many. And who are the real players in this? All right, I'm going to cut it right here, and I'll pick up and I will hopefully finish it. Jody Wolf, Expoz.